Hello friends. So last time we have seen specifically about 360 days. We are talking about cycles which are related to 360 days. This time what we'll do is we'll talk about something which is related to 360 years, and probably that would take to a different cycle. So here we will be talking about day for a year or year for a day. So we'll try to understand a year cycle from that perspective, which are bigger cycles for us to understand. And we will go across over here for 360 year cycle. So we can substitute a day for a year. So 360 days can be there, or 360 years can be done. If we consider 360 years, probably we'll get this cycle of 1260 years. Let's try to understand this cycle and try to focus few of the things that we will be able to get in terms of data, and probably just try to backtest for that part also. So if you want to keep on learning this kind of things, probably you can just contact us. We'll probably try to help you with rest of the stuff for understanding this bigger cycles also, as well as the smaller cycles which may be tending for smaller time frames. That part. So we have considered 360 days in the previous cycle, and now we are considering 360 years. So we got this 1260 days. I'll just show you the calculations for that. So for example, we knew time times and a half. So we did calculations for that. Time is equal to 360. We did 360 plus 360 into 2 plus half of 360. We came to somewhere around 1260. Now we have considered this 1260 as days. That was the first part. Now we'll consider that as considering years. So if we consider this as years, we have 1260 years. So we'll do the calculations on the basis of 1260 years. Let's try to find out something. So what we'll do is we'll probably just go on Google, and on Google we just type 1260 years and try to find out what are the details that we get. So let's say probably for this is the first article. So this is the second one that I'm trying to open. This is the third one that we are talking about. Now we are going for the first article. In this first article, probably we try to just understand few of the things which are there. So here we are talking about few dates, which is 1260 years, and this was been considered somewhere around, the cycle was been completed in AD 1798, that is 1798. If you consider for that, the era which started, that was in AD 538, approximately we'll consider the dates. So if we go over here, yes, we find this small chart which has been given. This is how we get it. So it again talks about the 1260 day cycle which is there. So if we consider this in terms of years which is there, it starts from 538 AD to 1798. So you can just go through the article and try to find out more about that, because it specifically mentions about those specific dates. Of course, the events which have been related to that have been given. But yes, they have also given us, because W. Gann has specifically talked about this articles talking about 360 days, 360 years of cycle. Now, the basic thing is, yes, we don't have sufficient data to backtest this. So if I specifically go for Dow Jones and we consider for a yearly candle, which is 12 months, what we see is the first date, or probably the first initial trading data that we have, that is somewhere around from 1896 onwards. This is what we have. And if we currently consider the current dates which are there, so even if we consider from 2024, and if you want to go somewhere around 360 years back, so we should be having data approximately from 1664. And here, if we see, yes, the data is starting from 1896, not beyond that. So this is the 12 months candle. So probably this is the best data that we are able to get across Dow Jones. Apart from Dow Jones, yes, we have gold, silver, which probably we can backtest. Again, if we try to go for gold, probably prices of gold, this is just one of the charts which has been taken for historical prices. So somewhere around till 1932, the prices were almost been stable. A gold cycle, probably will try to take this separately and try to understand this part. But yes, more of, if you see the dates which probably has been given over here are from 1833, and during that price was more of stable. Let's say this is just an example been given. Sir Isaac Newton, as master of the UK Mint, set the gold price. So the prices which is been given, that is from 1717. 1717 is there, and even if you want to backtest this data, even if you consider for 360 years, so considering from now to 0 to 4 minus, even if you want to just go 360 years back, we should be at least having data for 1664, probably, which is not there. Of course, data would be there, but yes, more of accounted data, which is specifically been talked about, that is not there, which is specifically should be there in charts as specifically. So the latest that we have is 1717. And yes, probably what happens because of that is maybe probably we won't be able to go across through the actual data of 1260 years of cycle. So what we get best across over here as an example is only this part, which is from 538 AD to 1798. So probably this has been considered as one of the cycles for three, considering 360 as the time frame. So if we consider 360 years, and if you go for the second part, that is time times and a half, and even if we consider day for a year, so if we consider 360 years and we consider the cycle of time times and a half, we can consider that 3.5 years or maybe 1260 years on the basis of this part, which actually takes us to 1260. So considering 360 as years, which has been given by W.D. Gann over here in his book as 360 years. And if you consider time times and a half, it is somewhere around 1260 years. And for 1 to 6 years, this is probably one of the cycles that we get across. So this becomes a very big cycle. This can be only done through historical backtesting because this is the only data that we'll be having. So technically for us, so for gold, yes, we did have the data starting from 1717. But what has technically happened over here is, let's say, for example, the prices of gold were somewhere around almost being stable. So it only started changing somewhere around from 1932 onwards. So probably we'll try to take this example as a separate part where we can see that the changes have been there. There are some significant changes or maybe probably cycles that we need to track about, especially gold. So maybe in continuing videos, we'll talk about gold also, because there are some certain cycles which are much more easier for us to identify. So at this stage, probably, yes, we'll try to continue with the things over here. And further, we'll talk about the 490 year cycles or maybe 70 into 70, because that is again a critical part that we need to understand. So here we have just talked about 360 years, day for a year, and then coming down to time times and a half. So we care about 1260 years cycle. So day for a year for a day is again something very critical and important for us to understand. We just try to take an example for that and try to elaborate further for day for a year or maybe year for a day part. So if you want to understand more about these parts, so probably you can just contact us and we'll take you probably on a different. So if you want to understand more about this part, you can definitely get in contact with us and we'll try to probably explain you personally for few of the things. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care. So here we will be talking about day for a year or year for a day. So we'll try to understand a year cycle from that perspective, which are bigger cycles for us to understand. And we will go across over here for 360 year cycle. So we can substitute a day for a year. So 360 days can be there or 360 years can be done. If we consider 360 years, probably we'll get this cycle of 1260 years. Let's try to understand this cycle and try to focus few of the things that we will be able to get in terms of data, and probably just try to backtest for that part also. That also, if you want to keep on learning this kind of things, probably you can just contact us. We'll probably try to help you with rest of the stuff for understanding this bigger cycles also, as well as the smaller cycles which may be tending for smaller time frames.